Welcome to Season 4 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Lisa, how you doing?
Hi, Barry. I'm so good to see you in person.
You too. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays back.
Well, welcome. Here we are. We're live and on video.
Yes, we are. I'm so excited.
I am too. We've been talking about this a long.
I know.
We've been talking about this a long time.
Yes, and we're so glad to be back and live and doing 2026 like this. I'm so excited about it. And we're going to bring all of you in the audience some really great topics this year. We've had some feedback from some of our people.
We've had some really good feedback, and you know, we also have lined up in season 4 some really good guest speakers coming on too that I think people are going to really be interested in listening to.
Oh my gosh, yeah, people love when we have guest speakers and they add so much value to our podcast. So we can't wait to have you guys on. So definitely DM me or Barry if you want to be on our show. We'd be happy to have you.
Yes, definitely. I like having guests on because it gives different perspectives. Our listeners get our perspective, sure, and you know, we value our perspectives and there are history and what we've learned over the years, but it's always good to have a fresh perspective from somebody else, right?
Yeah, because we all learn from each other. I mean, that's the whole purpose of podcasts, right? Is to learn.
Right. Well, you know, so everybody, welcome to season 4, episode 1.
Episode 1.
So here we are.
Yes.
This topic. This topic we're going to really kind of just drill down to the basics. We want to talk about actually starting business, no fluff, no muff, just get right to what it is starting a business, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you are so afraid to actually do it, but we are here to encourage you and to give you tips on how to do it successfully. So a lot of people just have the idea floating around in their head and they don't actually pull the trigger. So we're going to give you some steps to help you get your idea into action.
Right. You know, the thing is a lot of businesses have failed, right? And there's reasons for that, and we want to mitigate that and make that percentage as small as possible for you guys, right? So yeah, you know, with the actual steps of starting the business, right? The first thing that you need to do is you got to have that idea, right?
Yeah, we all have those ideas floating around in our head. We just are afraid to see it fail, so we don't really ever do anything about it. But we always talk about failing forward, right?
We do, and that failure is part of success, right?
Exactly.
You probably are going to have a lot of failures before you actually succeed. That's part of the process, because how do you know what works until it works?
There's a lot that encompasses the idea too, right? You have to figure out, like, what is the problem and who are you solving the problem for? Who is going to be your audience or your customer?
Yeah, exactly, right? So, and what problems are you solving, right? Are you solving a personal problem, a business problem, a product problem, a service problem? You know, all of those things, you need to figure those things out, right? I talk to people all the time, and they have ideas, they do. And some of them good, some of them not so good. But the thing is I think everybody has a little bit of entrepreneurship in them, right?
Yeah, and there's something for everyone. You can find a customer. It's just the delivery of it, the marketing of it, and everything that comes along with running a business. You want to do it successfully. So basically, you want to find out the pain points of the problem you're solving for the customer. Like, what is it that they really need, and how could you help their life be better?
Yeah, exactly, you know. And here's the deal, right? As you're doing this and as you're creating and formulating your idea, take and have some conversations with maybe 5, 10, 15 people that could potentially be your customers, and ask them questions and shut up. Listen to them, listen to what they say, and ask them,
Right.
what are the problems and how can you solve them?
Exactly. And are they paying for this solution already in their life? Because if they're paying for it already, then you'll know that it's successful. It's going to, be successful. So definitely find out if it's a paid for service that they are already looking for or already shopping around for.
True. And if they are paying for it already, find out how much they're paying for.
That's
And I'm not
right.
going to tell you to go undercut the other person. Depending on what value add you bring, you may want to charge more, right? If you bring 20% more or 50% more or 100% more, you can
Right.
bring more to the table.
Exactly. Yeah, and we'll dig a little deeper into that too in terms of like pricing strategies and so forth.
Yeah, that'll come in subsequent episodes. But nonetheless, the next thing, once you get your ideal down, then you need to really come up with a MVP,
Yeah.
right? A
So a
minimum
lot of times
valuable.
people get very discouraged at this point because they're like, oh my gosh, where do I begin? I have to build the whole thing out before I can actually open the doors. And that is a falsity.
Well, if it's service related, it's pretty easy, right? You just need to go out and do it. If you have a product, perhaps a manufacturing company or somebody who's got a 3D printer, they might be able to make this thing for you, or maybe you go out and buy your own 3D printer, right?
Sure. Or just put a landing page as your website. Like there's free websites out there called Wix and other products that you can get a free website landing page just to get your idea out into the internet world.
Yeah, Card, Typeform, Loom, Notion, stuff like that. Yeah, and you can throw those ideas out there and get concepts. Of course, you know you can also put things out there like on GoFundMe and a couple of the other websites and stuff like that to try to get funding if you don't have. But that's further down the line. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, a great place to
But
start is Facebook is just putting out a group, like starting your own business on a Facebook group page, right? Getting a
yeah,
business profile. That was one of the first things we did within Best Squire, and also on
yep,
Instagram and of course LinkedIn.
yeah, and the Biz Show as well, right? So come up with, get a group together and kind of brainstorm what you're going to be doing, and then what that product might look like. If it's service, I'll tell you a story, right? Here's my stories. Everyone's
We
getting
like
used
your
to my stories.
stories.
But, I said this before, Lisa, Fred, and Fred and I used to work at GE Capital back in the day, and when we left GE, we went two separate ways, right? He went the hardware way, I went the software way, and the management services type way, because I saw hardware, there's no margin in hardware, and then in software and services, there's all kinds of margin. So, right, if you build the software, you build it once, you sell it to many people over and over and over and over again. And services is just your time that you're servicing people with. So I
Right.
saw that as a much more profitable type of business.
And there you
And
go. Yeah.
I'm just putting those steps in place to understand. So if you got an MVP, right, what is the minimum valuable product that you can get out there, right? So if you want to become a web developer, right? So you might want to start small and start, hey, I'm just developing standard websites for company brochure type websites. And then eventually work your way up into cataloging and online stores and AI and stuff like that. But you can start small. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and to my story, I just shared this with somebody yesterday. We had a door and window company, my husband and I, and we came up with this idea because he worked in the field in construction for another competitor, and he saw all of the things that that business owner was doing wrong or unethically. And so it really motivated us to start our own
Yes.
company and to do things differently and better for the consumer. So, what did we do? We started with our name. We came up with a name. And back then, we're talking like 25 years ago, we, had the yellow pages. We didn't have phones. We didn't have, anything that was, internet related. So we actually came up with an idea that was a business name that started with an A because we wanted to be at the top of the yellow page listings. And so we came up with
We're
our
old,
business
aren't
name.
we?
Yeah, I'm really showing my age now. And then after we had the name, we of course filed a fictitious business name and got our license through the county and the city. And then we were able to think about like structure, which we're gonna, talk about next, like if we wanted to be an LLC or an S corp or C corp. And so we started our S corporation to help us with tax liabilities in the self-employment tax arena. And we just really kind of put those key things in place. We opened a business banking account. And then, of course, we knew there was a need for people that wanted to remodel their homes with all new doors and windows. So we already knew there was a pain point. We already knew from his experience, and he collected the data from having worked for another company, how to provide better customer service and how to do it, well. And we were very successful at it. But yeah, those were just the basic things that we did to just start and launch our business. We put an ad in the yellow pages. That to us was taking a risk because we had to pay for that monthly. But we started there because
Yep.
that's how people looked up businesses. There was no Yelp, there was
Yeah.
no, Google.
Sadly, all that's gone. Even Yelp is really gone as well, right? So Yellow
I
Pages are gone, Yelp's gone. Now it's really just social media, maybe Google Business, for a pin on the map of where you're located. But yeah, it's funny.
But
My
it
first
really
company
does,
I
yeah,
started was a company called Systems Plus. And I really focused, I mean, systems was computers and servers and routers, switches, firewalls, but I really focused more on the plus side, the services side, right? The
yes.
installations and setups and stuff like that. And that's where I really focused on that piece. But yeah, so, please reach out to Lisa and myself, and we'll gladly, help you get through and navigate how to get started on that piece. I mean, there are proven strategies to get you moving along faster
Yeah.
than
I
just
mean,
kind of
even naming
play.
your business was overwhelming, right?
Yeah,
When we named it
exactly.
Best Hire, we were going back and forth and coming up with all
How
these
long did
different
it take
names.
us? It probably took
Oh,
us
gosh,
2 weeks to go
uh,
through.
definitely more than a few days. Yeah, we were definitely
Yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah, yeah, yeah.
back and forth on it.
And yeah, exactly. So well, let's talk about it. So we talked about a minimum valuable product that you can start, and that's really your prototype, right? To get out there to see if it actually is going to work. And then if it
Yeah.
does, then the next thing you need to do is really start talking and thinking about the structure of your company.
Yeah. So,
And
and you
there
might
are
want to consult with a CPA about that, right? Depending on your assets that you have
right.
and things. Hmm.
There are five types of businesses, right?
Yes.
There's a sole proprietor, there's a partnership, there's a LLC, and there's S corp and a C corp.
Right.
And depending on how it's structured, on the low side, if you're looking at a sole proprietor, you and the company are one and the same. Basically, it's you, and the company makes money. You're making the same amount of money. You claim your taxes all in the same income tax form, right?
Yeah, you're gonna owe a lot more in taxes. We did that for about
Right,
a year.
right. And
We were
then
like, oh my
moving
goodness.
in, yeah, and then same with partnerships. And then if you move into um, LLC, and then the S corp and the C corps. Now you've got some protections and stuff like that. Regards to if somebody wants to sue the company, they can sue the company, but they're not personally suing you, and vice versa. If you personally get sued, they can't go after the company. And then there's some tax strategies too, right? I will say this: if you think somewhere down the road that you're going to become a big company and maybe go public on the stock market, then the C corp is the only one that really is going to go on the stock market, right? That said, you can start anywhere you want, and then you
You
can
can always switch
upgrade,
it.
downgrade
Yeah.
later, right?
Can always make a change and amend it the following, for the next fiscal year.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
just stuck in
exactly.
one. Yeah, depending on the
You're
growth
not
or the
stuck.
direction of your company. Yeah. But you're going to
So,
need an
so
EIN number. No matter what you do, you're going to absolutely need an employer identification number. And
right,
so
and
that you,
why do we need that? What's
it
that for?
will
That's for
actually
payroll
give
taxes,
you
right?
business credit too. Yeah, build up your business
Business
finances.
credit, your payroll taxes. If you're going to use ADP or something like that, they're not going to do
That's how
business
you're
unless you have an EIN.
recognized. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Oh, and
Once
then
you
your
go,
business bank account will require you to have that too. If you want to open a business bank account, which you should keep your business and personal finances separate, you'll definitely need to provide the banking institution the EIN number.
right, and the if you're a sole proprietor, it's still a good thing to get that, but
Yeah.
if you're a sole proprietor, you're also going to need a business license and a fictitious name in order to get your bank account.
Right. Yep.
So
Well, different banks
unless
require different things, but you would definitely want to check with your banking institution of your choice. But yeah, those are all the basics that you would want to have when you're starting a new company.
and then I would suggest getting a bookkeeping company, right? Not
Yeah. I
specifically
mean, you
you.
don't have to hire one. You could do it yourself,
Yeah,
right? In the
but
beginning until you start getting some, money rolling in. QuickBooks is a great software program. It's very user friendly. It links to all of your banking accounts if you want, so the information is automatically uploaded, and then you just have to like classify it and set up all of your chart of accounts. But it's a great starting point, and you could print a
QuickBooks
P&L and give it
is
over to
great.
your CPA at the end of the year.
Yes, exactly. And I'll say this: um, the faster you can get out of doing your own bookkeeping, the better. I
I know.
posed a question on Alignable to a group of small business owners, and that was one of the questions. One of the questions I asked is, "What is the one thing as a entrepreneur you wish you could get out of sooner than later?" I got 300 responses. 295 of them were bookkeeping, payroll,
Yeah.
bookkeeping, accounting. Because it ties you down, and then you're not with your customers, you're not with your product, you're stuck in the back office running numbers with a calculator.
So true. I mean, you definitely want to do more things with your time than do your own accounting and bookkeeping, and that's such an important part of the business. So give it to a skilled professional that could just do it and knock it out for you. And it's such a headache reliever
Yeah,
too. My gosh.
it is. Some people enjoy that. My CFOs in the past always say, "Hey, how many beans do we have today?" Because always bean counters, right? Counting the beans.
That is not one of my things that I enjoy. I do
And
not enjoy
and Lisa,
number
you
crunching.
were CFO, so you were a bean counter.
I was. I counted the beans and I did the budget. So yeah, it's a stressful hat to wear for sure.
Yeah, especially when the numbers don't add up. And we've had those conversations in the past and we will in the future about knowing your
Yes.
numbers daily and so on and so forth. But that's, further down the line.
So then
So,
once you
the
have
thing
all of these
is,
basics in place, right? You have all of these basic structural things in place for your company. What are you going to do next? Oh my gosh, now you got to go out in the real world and start selling it or selling yourself. And so, how do we do that? With some really good marketing. We want to make sure we clarify our message to the consumer because we
this
already
is
know
right up
what
your
people
alley.
are.
You're the big marketing and advertising person.
I love doing marketing. I absolutely love the creativity part of it. I love being able to articulate with different verbiage and words and pictures now are just, videos are so prominent in terms of marketing. People don't like to read anything. They like to see pictures, like a commercial.
Well,
So,
they say that picture's worth 1,000 words and a video is worth 10,000 words.
which
So,
is why we're
that
here on video,
this is
right?
why we are now on video, right? We've had words. Now we've got faces to go with those words.
That's right. So we're marketing ourselves right now, Barry, you and I.
No. Well, okay, I don't have a tie on, sorry.
Okay, well,
Well, but
we'll
here's
put
the
on your
deal.
pajamas.
No, we're not. And
It's so
there
important because
honestly,
a lot of people do want to see the person behind the product. They want to see who are they buying from? Do I
well,
like this person? Do I align with this person? Right? It's
right,
all
right.
about alignment.
We have our LinkedIn profiles, and yeah, that shows a picture. And we might, you see us from time to time on social media and stuff like that. And I've
Yeah.
been a lecturer and a guest speaker, so I've spoke to thousands of people in one shot. But nonetheless, yeah, you want to see the person who's talking, and so on and so forth. I love doing the Zoom meetings over just a quick telephone call because I get to see the person, I get to see their face, the reactions, and all that other stuff, right?
Gosh, it's so fun to do business that way. I'm so happy for that is one of the silver linings of COVID, right? We got really into Zoom calls because we couldn't be face to face with people, but it's such a great asset in running a company to be able to utilize Zoom. And that's a great way to start building your database is like setting up appointments over Zoom or over coffee and seeing if there's a real need for your product, and have the person get to know you so they feel trustworthy doing business with you.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and speaking of your message and marketing, I've said this many times, right? I used to teach business and marketing. When you come to marketing, specifically marketing 101, people don't even recognize you until they've heard your name at least 3 times. And then they just recognize you, right? They're really
Yeah,
not going to start paying attention until they've heard you 7 times. And
that's what I thought.
then now they're paying attention for it, and now they hear it. They're actually not going to start looking and investigating until they've heard you 11 times.
Seven
And
eleven.
then, yeah, and then lastly, when are they going to purchase from you? It's normally after the 15th time. They've heard about you, now they've investigated you, and now, okay, now I'm going to pull the trigger and buy your service or your product. But so the marketing is there to help propel that and get you to that number 15 or 17, whatever number it's going to be. Each one's different. That's just the average that marketing says,
That's
right?
right. And it's best if they're hearing about you from other people. So if you have other people already utilizing your services or buying your products, and word of mouth is just the best testimony to you. So definitely
It
get
is.
yourself
It is.
out there, meet people, get them to know you, get them, doing business with you, and then that is going to be your best source of business is from referrals.
I don't even, for us, we have many customers that are referring business to us left and right. Matter of fact, we got a whole lot of business right now, and we're not even really advertising that much.
No,
So, but
yeah,
that said,
out
when
there,
you,
the budget is low.
yes, when you go out there, right, and you want to clarify that message and make sure it's obvious, right? If you're selling a pen, make sure whatever you're marketing is about pens, right? Flying an airplane. I mean, how many times have you watched a TV commercial, right? And I
And you're
see
like,
this
what is
commercial.
this about? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy driving a car. Well, actually, here's a good one. Hugh Jackman, right? Dressed up as Logan. And he's in the desert and he's doing stuff. And for 30 seconds, I'm watching him go, what's this about? And then finally,
It
he
kept you
pulls up
watching
some
though.
cologne. Yeah, he pulls
Yeah.
up a cologne. I'm like, oh, he's selling cologne.
They want to pique your curiosity, right?
Well, I
They
almost
kept
turned it off because it's like, my God, what is this?
You're like,
Is
what
this
am I
the
watching? This
movie
is
star?
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
funny. But it's so
So,
funny
it's
because we talk about all these, paid things like paying for advertising and doing marketing and stuff online. But I really think that your business is in the palm of your hands, meaning we all have our phone attached to our hands. So our business is already the people that know us. So literally, when my son got his real estate license, I said, call the people in that phone because they know you. And they're going to be so happy that you're starting your own business and they're going to want to support you. So definitely rely upon your sphere of influence. It's all in your phone. So start outreaching to them directly.
hello, anybody there? Hey, hello.
Hey, I'm
They're
very
not
busted.
answering.
I have a new
Yeah,
company. Yeah,
exactly. So, hey, you know what? People could see that because we're on video, right? So in the past, I would
right.
do that. You would have to kind of comment. Oh, he's looking at his phone.
Oh, I know, right? But yeah,
So
call
listen,
upon the people that know you and get them to spread the word for you.
and, and and skip the buzzwords, right? Get to it, right?
Get to it
Don't
and be
load
honest.
everybody down with fluff. People can see fluff,
Yeah.
and fluff smells.
And that's more ego-centric, right? We're talking from our ego, like I'm doing this company now. And, it's just a different way of delivering your message. But if you're talking from your heart and your excitement and you're passionate about what you're doing, people are going to be like, it's going to be contagious. So
Right.
it'll be received much better.
So the next step on this, and you kind of already mentioned it already with the phone, right? But how do you get your first paying customers?
Yeah, I mean, there's LinkedIn, there's email blasts. I totally love email blasts because, like Barry mentioned a minute ago, get in front of them more than several times so you can get your name recognized. So I'm a big component of email blasts. I know people have to use certain software so they don't get spammed out, but we're here to help you with that too.
Well, we're going to talk about some tools that are going to help you with that email blast in just a minute, right? But
Yep.
getting your first customers, social media is going to probably be, and your friends and family are probably your first thing. But don't sit there and pay for ads and stuff like that, start an outreach in social media. As you said earlier, start a Facebook group or throw it out there to your friends. Hey, you know, I have this. What do you guys think? Anybody interested?
Yeah, there's also those apps that do like mass text, and they kind of depending on what you put in there as your template, but they do look like a direct message that you're sending. But it's such a time saver if you want to, outreach to everybody in your phone via text. Just to sign up for one of those apps, it's like $15 a month. It's really affordable, and it will help you stay in front of them. And you could change the templates and the messages so it's not just boilerplate and it looks like a mass text. You could change it and make it personalized. But again, outreach to the people that know you. Ask for the referrals, even if they don't need your business or your services. Ask them for a referral. Maybe they know somebody that does.
Right, exactly. We do that all the time. Hey, if you're not interested in this deal or whatever, is there anybody in your network that might be?
Correct.
And if so,
Yeah.
make an introduction. And that's
Right.
worked many, many times for us. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about cold calls and cold emails. I'll say this. Something about cold emails, right? If you're sending out cold emails, you're losing because 90% of the time it's going to go to spam, or they're going to click the spam button and label you as spam, and then you're going to get shut down on your email server for being a spammer
Right.
after you get too many of those. So be very selective of who you're sending email to. Just don't send an email blast out to anybody and everybody. You need to have people opt in to a list that they're willing to accept your marketing.
Right. That's such a good way to follow up after a really good phone call or after a customer has already done business with you, is to stay in front of them by adding them to your CRM system and then following up their email, offering promotional items or sales that you may have through email. So it's really
Yes.
helpful to have your clientele in a CRM system and then definitely email to them.
Well, let's jump
Or
into that. Let's
yeah,
jump into the tools, right? The first one is CRM, right? So what does CRM stand for?
customer relations management,
Yes. And,
right?
and what is that? That's a database that holds all your contacts, email
Yeah.
addresses, phone numbers, names, businesses, all that stuff. And then from there, you can start doing, as you said earlier, email blasts or drip campaigns, right? And
Yes.
those drip campaigns are the system automatically sends an email out like once a week or so about something
You know
that you
what's cool though is
previously
that
have to send.
you're like always preaching about numbers, and when you have a CRM system, typically they come with like an analytics of who is opening your email and who is clicking on the links that may be part of the email body. So you could definitely track your numbers and see who's your A list of customers, like who's actually opening your email, who enjoy receiving them, and they're spending time, reading it and maybe clicking on something that you have in there that's interactive. And that's so great because then you know who your A list is and you know who to actually call upon, invite them to, store events or whatnot. And so I love the fact that you can track your emails through analytics.
Yes, that's a great segue too for a couple things. But um, in the drip campaigns and the emails and stuff like that, as you're doing your analytics, typically you're going to find as you analyze that stuff, you're going to get 80% of your business revenue is coming from 20% of your customers,
Yeah, you get to
right?
see those numbers, right? You get to see like
So you're
what
going to see
ads are
who
working,
your
what
top,
emails are working, and what's not. And then you want to
right,
just keep that so you could,
and,
keep doing the things that are working and maybe eliminate the things that are not, right? And
play
then
around
also
with it a
a
little
lot of
bit.
it, yeah, a lot of it could be automated once you get familiar with your CRM system. You could start automating emails so you're not having to manually send them.
But here's a quick tip, right? So we got a quick hit. I think, Lisa, you put it out there. Don't automate until you know how to do it yourself,
Yeah. Yeah, make sure what
right?
you're doing is working and you don't want to automate something silly that is like, going to ruin your reputation.
Right, right. So,
Yeah.
I got a lot of comments on that. I heard a lot of comments on that one that, that's so good because, yeah, I automated this, that, and the other, and I got nothing. And then I realized it's
Uh-huh.
not working. And I didn't
And
realize it was
then you're
working
not
until
really
Lisa said
tracking.
something.
Yeah, and you may not be paying attention to what you're sending out and not tracking those analytics. So, yeah, even though you automate, you definitely want to be paying attention and tracking it or changing up your templates even. You can't be sending the same thing out. They're just going to go into the delete.
Right, definitely so. So, let's talk about just a couple mistakes that people should try to avoid for the most part,
Yeah,
right?
I have a
So,
lot of agents that want to be perfect before they even start talking to somebody. That is
yeah,
not how you get training.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, and the thing is, and I hate this term, and you've said it many times, but fake it till you make it. I don't really like that because I don't like
It
trying
sounds like
to
you're
dissect.
unprepared. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think the term suits itself well for that. I think what it's just being say, jump in there and see what you get, and you need to adapt and pivot. Right? We use that pivot word all the time.
Yes, that's how you learn what works and what doesn't work. And that's really like practice makes perfect. We've used that a lot too. You have to practice the elevator pitch. You have to practice the promoting of the product. And the only way to do that is to jump in. And so really that's where I think I resonate with that term, fake it till you make it, because you don't have it perfect yet. It's part of the journey, part of the process of
Right,
owning a
and,
company.
and and I get the concept. It's just when you hear "fake it," you're like, "Oh no, they're trying to dupe me,"
But yeah,
and they're not.
you're being
They're not trying
literal.
to dupe you. They're just
Yeah,
maybe they're at medium level, and you just want the advanced, and so they still want to
right.
play a game. But
Yep.
but anyways, give them a chance. The next thing is I've seen this many times where people have come to us with they got this product and it's not selling, and we look at it and it's like, well, yeah, it's not selling because nobody wants it, right?
Yes.
So don't
Not being
invest
validated.
all your eggs in one basket, right? So make sure whatever you're building, you validated it that it's actual and it's going to work and people are going to want it.
Mhm. Have some backup products and backup plans to so you could pivot and try something else.
Right. Next thing to avoid, and I talked about this earlier, is pricing, right? Don't underprice yourself just to get customers, right? So there's the Walmart effect, and then there's the Nordstrom's effect, all
Yes.
right, or Macy's, whatever you want to call it.
People might
And the
think,
thing
what's
is
wrong
this,
with this? If it's too cheap, right? They may think there must be something wrong with it. It doesn't sound like even the price
right?
point that it's supposed to be.
Go and investigate and research pricing from all the like companies and competitors, and you might want to dive right in with them, right? Instead of, oh, I'm going to price it 10% below, because
Yep.
that's just lost revenue on the table for you, number one. But, here's the deal. I've worked with governments many times, state of California, the federal government, and stuff like that. And they always require three bids. And
Always three. Yeah.
they always go with the middle bid.
Right?
Right?
Well, of course.
The middle
I
bid.
mean, unless the
So,
most expensive bidder is giving you like so many more things that you want, to have. But yeah, most people choose the middle bid.
yeah, it
I
is.
mean,
It is. It's,
the lowest bid, I mean, I always say you get what you pay for. So usually the lowest bid is going to be lacking in some area. So yeah, that's a scary area for me. I don't typically go with the lowest bid. It may seem
right.
like a great idea, but you always learn from that lesson.
Well, I just know that in my experience that the government, they're going with the middle bid. And
Yeah.
and they're really good about fine tuning all the bids to be apples to apples. It's rare that you'll see an apple to oranges, but just know that. So don't underprice yourself for sure. And then the next one really is in the marketing piece, Lisa. It's up your aisle, right? What's that one?
Well, yeah. I mean, we do a lot of social media, marketing, and we don't pay attention to those analytics. And we realize that our phone's not ringing from those efforts. And so we're like, well, why isn't the phone ringing? We really have to change it up. You really have to be creative. You really have to wear your marketing hat. You have to actually study the competition and see what they're doing and maybe incorporate some of their ideas and make it your own style when you're doing social media. So don't just think, oh, I plopped it up there online. I'm going to get 10 million calls. But if you don't, change it up. You need to reevaluate what you're doing. You need to try different times that you're posting on social media. Even with the e-blast too, like we said, you may have it all automated, but don't, just neglect it. You need to pay attention.
Yeah, I just
We
looked
all
on
want
Facebook.
conversion, right? That's
Yeah,
why
we
we do
do.
marketing to get get
And
customers
I
and
just
convert them.
I just looked on my phone on Facebook, a couple of my posts. You can see the impressions of how many people seen it, liked it, and stuff like that, right? Pay attention to that stuff because that's going to tell you if something's working. And maybe you need to put two or three of them out there, see which one gets traction.
That's right. And always ask for help. We need to ask our team, our employees. We need to always ask for help. We can't do this on
Us.
our own. It's called teamwork. There's no I in team. I love saying that because I used to think that I had to do everything myself and I was afraid to ask for help. And that was a big mistake. It really, really prevented me from climbing to the top faster. It actually prohibited me from my growth. And so I learned that many years ago. Part of it was ego. Part of it was a sense of loss of control of the company, afraid to fail, afraid of losing your clients because they are really buying from me and they really know me and like me. But you have to start leveraging yourself in order to have growth.
Well, you do. And the thing is being a former CEO, I've learned really fast. The best CEO is a generalist, right? They know everything, or they know a little bit about marketing, a little bit about sales, a little about finance, so on and so forth. You hire vice presidents and experts and you put them in those things to run those things for you, and then they report back to you, right? So
That's right.
ask for help, whether it's with your staff, or whether it's a third party company like us at InvestQuire, or it's friends and family.
Yeah.
You can't
Because you
do
don't know
everything.
everything. We just
Yeah,
said it
and the
the
thing is,
time.
there's
You don't
only
need to know
24 hours
everything.
in a day,
Yes.
so you
And
can't get
you'll actually
everything done.
learn from the people that you're asking help from too. You're like, wow, I didn't think of that. Like two minds are better than one, I always say. Four eyes are better than two. So you're always going to be learning like, oh gosh, that's such a great idea. It just saved me like 2 more hours in my day. So just, let go of the
Did you just
ego.
call me Four Eyes?
You have 4 eyes right now. I usually wear glasses. I need to wear mine. Then we'd be 8 eyes, Barry. Okay.
That would be. Well, listen,
Let's wrap it up.
let's wrap it up, right? We're coming to a close here, but listen, starting a business isn't necessarily for the faint of heart, right? But you don't need to be afraid. It's actually pretty easy to start a business and start generating revenue. And the funny thing is you see all these ads or these testimonials or people on YouTube going, "Oh, hey, side job, and I made $10,000 a month on this side job," right? Is that a business? No. And really, that's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like the herd just falling from one apple tree to the next apple tree to the next apple tree. But by the time you get to that apple tree, it's all ate up and gone. And so
Yeah.
focus on you, right? And what you want to do. Don't focus on what other people are saying. Um,
Yeah, because that's when the
you're trying to do.
fear and the self-talk sets in. You don't need to have that. You just need to, like Barry said, stay focused, believe in it, and do all of these little, steps in the very beginning so that you're not starting a business haphazardly and you're actually doing it methodically and intentionally. And be fearless. You have to be fearless when you're trying new things and just learn from it.
Yes,
Forward.
you do. So
But we're here to help you guys.
what's coming up on season 4 is what? We're going to talk about raising capital, HR, interviewing people, sales, marketing, tax, branding, scaling, exit
Tax
strategies. We got a
strategy.
lot coming up in season 4 here. So expect to
Yeah, we're gonna
see
make it.
a lot of us.
Yeah, we're going to make it really, really fulfilling for all of you to continue listening and telling your friends about us. And please hit the subscribe button because that helps us gain traction.
Yeah, and being we're starting this first episode here on YouTube, we don't have a YouTube audience yet, so please help us build that audience, right? We've got a decent audience in audio out on Spotify and
Yeah,
Heart Radio and stuff like that, but
Amazon
YouTube is brand
Music.
new for us.
Yeah, help us. We're asking for your help. There we go.
Yes, we are. All right, guys,
Well,
listen, you guys have a great day, and we will see you next week.
make it a great day. Bye. Thank you all for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest business topics that you'd like to hear. Thank you all for listening. Bye.